What's good, everybody? Borlax Barsmith here. It's time to have a conversation about ICE. First and foremost, let me start by saying this. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the Second Amendment, and I am a Second Amendment absolutist. You're going to have to kill me to take this from me. Second Amendment absolutist. You will have to kill me to take it from me. That's what I mean by Second Amendment absolutist. So now that that is out of the way, let's talk about ICE for a little bit. What is ICE and what is their purpose? Everybody knows ICE stands for Immigration Customs Enforcement. The job of ICE is supposed to be primarily around deportation and getting rid of people that are here illegally. That is an idea in and of itself separated from this situation that I do support, right? That is an idea that I do support separated from this individual situation. However, something I do not support as a Second Amendment absolutist that is not okay with federal agents roaming the streets harassing American citizens. From what I can see, I think that ICE just murdered this man. And I'm about to show you the video of why. Nothing that happens up to this point is particularly relevant, right? And the reason I'm saying that nothing that happens to this point is particularly relevant is we're not talking about why the agents got on top of him. We're talking about what happened after they did, right? Because even when force is justified, there still has to be a justified use of it, right? So force can be justified, right? The way that you use force may not be justified, right? That is what I'm talking about right here. Not was use of force justified. Was this use of force justified? So now that we've got that clarified, right? Let's watch this video. And this guy is this William Hall guy that none of these titles are right. And I'm going to show you in a second. And there's another view that's been popping around that I'm going to try to find in a moment as well to show you what I'm talking about. But Alex Preddy is currently on the ground, right? Here's another thing I'd like to note. The pistol that he was carrying had an optic and was properly carried inside of a holster. Tell me the last time some liberal nut job that was just there to cause problems at one of these events carried a nice weapon with optics properly in a holster. Find me that video. I've never seen it. Either way. So, this is a video of all these guys on top of him, right? This is slowed down. This guy is saying Alex Preddy is resisting arrest. Mind you, I would like for you to know that you are well within your right to use lethal force against unlawful force being used against you. It is your constitutional right to use your Second Amendment to defend yourself from tyranny. It's not resisting arrest when it's tyrannical. You're resisting tyranny. That's two different concepts. And I'm not saying right here, based off the current information, that this is what I would consider the resisting of tyranny or anything else. But we're just going to talk about this. So this says he's resisting arrest regardless. The firearm in the holster is down here. This officer is clearly trying to get control of this guy's weapon, right? That is properly in a holster behind him. This guy's got control of his weapon. This officer is grabbing his weapon. This man is not touching his firearm. The officer is. This says firearm and holster. Alex Preddy is not even the one touching this. He's saying he's resisting arrest. He's not the one touching it. He didn't remove his firearm. This cop right here is disarming this guy and took his firearm. You can see this cop's hand pull the firearm out of the holster. It is not Alex Preddy. It is this officer in the gray right here. This officer just disarmed this man. This man now has no weapons and is being pounded upon by multiple men at the same time. This officer stands up and turns around to run away. Alex Preddy does not have the firearm in his hand. This officer disarmed him. This officer murdered him. This officer right here is currently running away with Alex Preddy's firearm. This officer has it. They took his gun and then murdered him. This officer is clearly going for this weapon. The officer's arm, you clearly see right here, pull this weapon. Officer's grabbing the weapon. It's the same arm the entire time. It's the same arm the entire time. This officer grabs the weapon. This officer pulls the weapon. That is not Alex Preddy. That is physically impossible for me to turn my arm around on my back this way to use my right hand or my left hand to grab a firearm out of my back. It is physically impossible. So this officer, again, let's look at this. This officer right here in the gray, this is clearly his arm that is coming through here to take this weapon. This officer in the gray arm, black glove from the officer clearly on Alex Preddy's weapon. Alex Preddy does not have his weapon. An officer has his weapon. This officer is looking straight down at this man's back to see that this man is the one grabbing the gun from Alex. He is looking dead at one of his officers taking the gun from Alex. Officer's got the gun. This officer has it, not Alex Preddy. Officer is pulling the gun away. Firearm is out of the holster, not because of Alex Preddy, but because of this officer right here. This officer in the fucking gray. This officer is taking the firearm and turning away and running. Why is this officer getting up and turning away and running from this scenario instead of helping the people that he's working with? It's almost like he's running away with the gun he just took off the guy. And as soon as that officer is clear, this guy murders him, shoots him in the back. They hold this guy still so they can murder him. Alex Preddy does not have a firearm in his hand. That is not a firearm. That's not a gun. That is not a clear visual of a firearm. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Alex Preddy does not have his firearm. Look at this hand. Look at this hand. Alex Preddy does not have his firearm. Look at this hand. Officer. Officer has the weapon. Officer has control of the weapon and is pulling on the weapon. Officer has the weapon. Officer pulls the weapon. Alex Preddy does not have a gun. That is this officer in the gray. As soon as he gets up and leaves, there's the firearm being pulled away. That is his phone. Somebody dropped a firearm, if that's a firearm. There's nothing, like he's not holding a gun. Phone, not a firearm. This doesn't look like a firearm to me. And it's not clearly in his hands either. Yeah, he's not, dude, he's not holding a gun here. There is no firearm in his hand. Yeah, so if anything, it looks like this officer was trying to point something at him and he hit it out of his hand. You mean to tell me that you think that that man yanked a gun out of that officer's hand? How? If I'm holding a firearm like this, it's not getting yanked out of my hand by the barrel, dude. It's just not. You're not yanking a gun out of my fucking hand in a scenario like this, especially from behind where you have no fucking leverage. That's not a firearm in his hand. That is not held by him. You can literally see space between his fingers. If anything, that's the butt of it and it's pointing this direction. There's nothing in his hand. He has nothing in his hand here. That's not a firearm. That's not a firearm. That's not a firearm in his hand. That is not a firearm. He does not have possession of a firearm. This officer, this entire time, has control of this firearm. Let's watch this again. This officer right here in the gray, holding the firearm. This officer has hands on the firearm. Grabs it. Officer takes it. That is the gray hoodie officer. This officer took his firearm. This officer has it. It's clear as fucking day. Alex Preddy is not the one removing this firearm. It is this guy. It's this guy. It's the fucking cop. Look, man, I don't like illegal immigrants either, man. I don't like illegal immigrants either, but I don't think my fellow countrymen should be getting murdered in the street by armed federal agents. ICE is not a regular police department. It's not their job to fuck with citizens that aren't an immediate direct threat. It's one thing if this dude actually pulled his weapon and aimed it at ICE. That dude is bent at the fucking knee, being pressed into the ground, arms held by multiple officers. This one literally took his firearm. Control of the weapon, officer. 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 First attempt at removal. Yank. Officer has his firearm. The officer has the gun. Alex Preddy is unarmed here. This officer is watching the other officer take the gun. This officer is watching the firearm be pulled out of the holster by his coworker that turns and gets out of the way so he can fucking kill him. This is murder, bro. This is murder. This is fucking murder. If you are so blinded by hating the other side that you cannot see this, you are the problem. The problem is not the left. The problem is not the right. The problem is the division that causes us to hate each other. The problem is the division that causes you to cheer for the murder of a man that is disarmed in front of your eyes by the same state that says that it is here to protect you. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. He was legally carrying this firearm in an approved holster. They took the gun from him and then killed him. He didn't pull this weapon standing up, capable of shooting someone. This officer took his gun. This officer murdered him. I don't give a fuck how much you support getting rid of illegal immigrants. I support getting rid of them. If I can hit the Staples Easy button right now and remove all of the violent criminals from this country, I'd fucking hit the Staples Easy button and remove them. So would every other American with some sense. Most of the people that are out here against ICE, they're not even mad that ICE is getting rid of the illegal immigrants. They're mad that federal agents are roaming their fucking streets. That's what they're mad about. These people are fucking redcoats, bro. The British are taxing your fucking tea. And it's more like 35%. Tinged with a little bit of murder. Y'all need to wake up. You cannot call yourself a conservative and blindlessly support the police state. You're a sheep. If you look at this video and think that Alex Preddy was anything but murdered, you are a sheep. Wake up! Wake up! The government does not love you. This officer murdered Alex Preddy after this one disarmed him. It's clear as day on video. We'll watch it one more time. Officer has control of the weapon. 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 Officer has control of the weapon and removes the weapon off of him. As soon as this cop sees a firearm, he pulls and kills this guy. The other officer is clearly the one taking it. But this guy sees a gun and immediately thinks murder. That's not who I want enforcing laws. This officer has the firearm. This guy is presenting to murder Alex Preddy. There's the gun in the officer's hand as he's turning away. What you can see of it in the frame. The officer has the gun. That is not a firearm, and if it is, where is it now? Where is the firearm in his hand? Where is the firearm? There's no firearm right here. There's no firearm. Where's the firearm? Where? Oh, yeah. It's in the hands of the gray cop that took it from him. Y'all need to wake up, bro. Y'all need to wake up. Wake up!